Yeah, I wanted to introduce you first, so I didn't feel short as this went on further. But Ronald, if you just kind of react to this honor and tell us what it means to you and reflect on your career a little bit, and then we'll just start some Q&A.
Thank y'all. Doug, thank you. It's been just a great honor to be here to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Is something I dreamed about and never thought would happen, and here I am, and it's a great honor.
When you were growing up, just riding horses for fun, did you think you could make a living at it? How did that work? How did you become a professional jockey?
Well, I started riding horses when I was about 8 years old in the bush tracks of Louisiana, which we had a bunch of them, and it was all for fun. And when I was 16 years old, I got my jockey's license and started riding at Delta Downs, and it went from there. I've rode in probably every state in Louisiana, every state in the country that has a racetrack, and had a lot of success out of the state, but like Doug said, most of my success came here at Louisiana. I was lead rider 6 times at Louisiana Downs and 6 times at Fairgrounds. 90% of my wins did come here in Louisiana, and I'm a Louisiana boy, true colors all the way through. And it was a great honor just to represent my state wherever I went, and being in the state to win the races I did.
What are there some races that just jump out at you? I mean, you ride so many day by day. Can you remember the particular races, or is it more a time in your career?
Well, Doug, you know, I've averaged probably 200, 250 races a year, but some of the bigger races like the New Orleans Handicap, which I win a couple times. I hold the record down in New Orleans for the number of stake winners in a single meet, and same thing here at Louisiana Downs. I guess some of probably the better horses that ever ran in the state, I had an opportunity to ride them, and Zarb's Magic's one of them. Scott Scoundrel, they're probably second and third on the list of amount of money they won in the state of Louisiana, and I got to be a part of their careers, and all the people that from the state of Louisiana that I got to ride for, that I still look up to and still do business with now as a jockey agent. So it's a big pleasure, like I say, to be from Louisiana and dealing with Louisiana people.
And so talk about what you do now as a jockey.
I'm a jockey's agent now. For the last 6 years, I represent 2 riders at Louisiana Downs right now, Don Symington and Chris Rozier. So it's something that I still get to be around all the horse people that I love, and be around the horses, and it's a fun job.
What about the horse racing industry as it is today, as opposed to what it was 20 years ago? Good things and things that you think could be better?
Well, you know, the horse industry has seen its up and downs in the state of Louisiana, but they have a good breeding program, and they breed a lot of good horses that, you know, go on other states and do well. The money now is, from 20 years ago, it's just 100% better. The horses have gotten better because we get, you know, influx of breeding from Kentucky, that we have stallions stand here in Louisiana that help our industry and help our program. So for the better of the state, it's gotten better.
So the money's 100% better. You're still fairly young.
Well, I'm about 65 pounds heavier than I used to be, so the idea of I have a couple of my friends, like Mark Guidry had retired. He was inducted last year, and several of them come back after being retired, but I have no desire to come back and lose 65 pounds to get back to riding. I had my fill of it. Almost 30,000 mounts, over 5,000 wins. I had my share.
It's not easy work, though. I mean, people talk about a typical day that you went through.
Oh, a typical day usually starts at between 5 and 5:30. Get on average maybe 10 horses a morning. Come back that afternoon and ride 10 horses, 10 races in the afternoon, and that's, you know, 5 days a week. So that's a lot of miles, and but it was a lot of fun. Like I say, I wouldn't trade my career that I had. I was blessed, and I got paid to do something I love to do, ride horses.
And you're a Cajun from Karen Crow, and you're rooted now in Bossier City. Talk about the North and South Louisiana and your love for the states.
Well, you know, the love of the state. I've been living in Houghton, actually, outside of Bossier for the last 32 years. And I still got a lot of family down south and visit a lot, but I tell everybody I'm a redneck coon ass now.
All right, any other questions for Ronald? I know you got some.
Greatest thoroughbred you ever rode?
Greatest thoroughbred I ever rode was probably a horse named Oncolor. I rode him in the Kentucky Derby. Another one was Zarb's Magic. Rode both of them in the Kentucky Derby, so they probably top horses I've rode.
You ran at the fairgrounds as well, didn't you?
Yes, they did, both of them.
Ronald, thank you. You being from Karen Crow, the Acadiana area, a lot of jockeys, successful jockeys have come out of that region, many. How much did that play a part in you? It's such a culture in Acadiana, riding horses growing up. Just kind of play off of that, if you would, a little bit.
Well, I always, joked about it. I said a bunch of us were just too little to go to the all field, and that was too hard of work. And so we got with the horses, and that carried us a long way. So many of us, started in the bush tracks at 8 years old, 9 years old, some of us 7 years old. Like I said, started real young. I mean, Eddie Delahousie, I can just go on down the list, Randy Romero, Mark Guidry. There were so many of us got started down in South Louisiana. And, we all started at, it was just something for us that we loved, riding races, match races. And a lot of us got lucky and made a career out of it.
How old were you when you ran your first professional race?
I was 16 years old.
Ronald, for us casual racing fans like myself that don't know the first thing about it, like I like watching the last leg of the race. Describe, I guess, the thrill. Like you're running neck and neck with a horse down the stretch, the thrill of the crowd going crazy. You got a chance to win. You're looking through side by side, and you got a chance to win this race. And I mean, it's kind of a rush, I'd imagine.
Well, it definitely is, and I've always said, people has asked me, the difference between riding, a $5,000 claimer or riding in $1 million race, what's the better feeling? And I always said it didn't make me any difference, the thrill of victory, when you cross that wire, it's like, got him again, and it's just something that when you lose that desire, you better find another profession because it's all about winning.
So a win was a win regardless of
It was a winner regardless. Yeah, it was just the thrill.
What are the jockeys' relationships with each other?
Well, actually, you would think that being athletes, you've got football players, they're in each side of the football field in different locker rooms. We're all together in one room, and the tempers do fly. But we all have a bond. We know what we're there for. We're a lot of camaraderie in the jocks room, but when we get in the starting gates, I always said everybody's face goes blank because I'm out there for one thing, to do a job, was to ride a race for the guy that hired me to ride, and whatever it took to win. There was no friends once that gate opened.
What was the most interesting story out of your career that you can remember? Something that happened that may be unusual, fascinating?
There were so many different things, that happened.
Most bizarre.
Most bizarre?
Yeah.
Well, I could start with one, riding at the fairgrounds on a Friday night, and a horse broke his leg with me and fell, and I've got plenty of scars to prove it, and it looked like a helicopter. The reason I say that, when we ride in the mud, we ride with long white pants, and you can't see our boots and everything. And I have a film of it, and I come off this horse. I was laying third, going into the turn, and I broke his leg. It's something that happens. And when I came off of him, I was flying in the air, and I looked like just a propeller flying. You could just see the white pants going in circles, and I'll never forget that. It was a strange thing to watch.
Ron, how much, you're having a lot of success with Don Symington as an agent. How much of being a jockey turned agent helps, and how much did you learn from the good people you had working with you when you were riding?
Well, I tell you, I had a business agent named Jerry Harrison who's no longer with us. We was together about 25 years. And, we would move different racetracks from Shreveport to the fairgrounds, and we lived together a lot. And I watched him and, learned a lot from him. And I've always, So I told him before he passed away several years ago, I said, if I would know what I know now, I'd have gave you 50% of the check instead of 30, because it's a lot goes into it. I mean, the phone never stops ringing, and you're dealing with trainers 24/7. They'll call you at any time. And when I was riding, it was a lot easier. You know, once I left the racetrack, my job was done. And now I realize that how hectic it is being a jock's agent. And it did help me, you know, with having Don Symington and Chris Rozier, who I represent now. I have an insight, you know, because I watch a lot of the races, and we confer daily on all the races that they ride. And I give them my opinion, and we talk about it, you know, for things down the road. And my connections with the people I rode have really helped, you know, the riders I represent. You know, they trust me, so they trust my riders.
I have one question. When you're riding, you got the goggles on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's muddy. How in the world do you see when you're behind? Man? How do you get that? I used to always wonder, how does that jockey see?
Well, we start out, you know, if the track's really muddy, we'll have probably 6 pair of goggles on.
Oh.
And as we go along, we just pull them down over our neck. And I used to do this, I used to think this was funny when my daughter was growing up, and we'd be going down the road, me and my wife and my daughter, and it'd be raining, and I'd be going about 45 miles an hour, and I'd turn the windshield wipers off, and I said, now, this is what Daddy sees when he's on a horse going 45 miles. She said, say, Daddy, I can't see anything. I said, sometime I couldn't either, but you just went with instinct, you know? So, yeah, it was, it's makes the job a lot harder in the mud, I guarantee you.
We could go on and on, there's no question about it. Ronald Ardoin, everybody.